Want to speak real Chinese from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at ChineseClass101.com.
Hi, my name is Jordan. I'm from the UK. I've studied Chinese for almost 5 years, mostly in Taiwan. And after that, I worked in Shanghai for 2 years. I'm now living in Tokyo, studying Japanese. 好，那我中文名字叫韩杰龙，我是从英国来的。然后我大概19岁的时候就去台湾念中文。在师范大学念了4年的中文，然后毕业以后就去上海工作。现在的话，我住在日本学日语。So I don't have any problems like speaking Chinese casually with friends. The only problems I ever really have in Chinese is speaking more like difficult conversations about things that I'm not interested in, like politics and such. I guess about after a year of studying Chinese full-time, I started to be able to speak Chinese and communicate with friends. Now I've been speaking Chinese for years. So after I graduated high school, I studied German for high school. I always found I had an interest in learning languages and listening to foreign languages. After graduating high school, I thought I wanted to study a language at university. And because it's studying it for 4 years, I thought it would be better to study something a bit harder if I'm going to be learning it for quite a while. So at the time, and still now, Chinese is a hugely important language. Especially with like tourism and like business, many aspects. So I thought, I'd try learning Chinese, and I moved to Taiwan, really got a feel for the language, made some good friends there, which just pushed me to learn more and more, and enroll in a university in Taiwan. So that's how it all started. I knew it would take a long time to master. Well, I don't think anyone really has mastered Chinese. It's such a difficult language. Talking to people, you know, just being able to speak in their language rather than using English all the time, especially when traveling to other countries. And sometimes, especially with Chinese, there's so many people that speak Chinese in the world, and if you go to Cambodia or Thailand, there's always going to be Chinese tourists there, and it's really fun to overhear people from China talking when they think you don't know what they're talking about, and sometimes they're talking about you. I was in Cambodia, Angkor Wat, and some Chinese people were next to me and just saying, "Oh, look at that foreigner, he's so white, his skin is so white." They were saying it quite loud as well, so obviously they clearly thought I didn't speak Chinese, which most people don't. So I studied Chinese in Taiwan at university. Our lessons were extremely intense, like 4 or 5 hours a day of language learning. And then we were always in like a Chinese environment as well, speaking with friends and classmates. We used a whole range of different textbooks from different subjects, not just about Chinese language, but about like culture and history in Chinese. So for me, I learned it very intensely, probably in the kind of the best situation, I think, for language learning. Just completely like immerse yourself from day one in the language you want to learn. Yeah, at first it's a lot of work on your own. But then as you become more and more advanced, then you hardly need any work at home. It's just all about going to the lessons and understanding what the teacher is saying. Definitely the characters. That's something that never really gets easier, I think. Obviously, it gets easier to remember the characters, but writing them is definitely the hardest part, because nowadays everyone just types in Chinese. Even my friends from Taiwan hardly even write anything anymore. At first, obviously, as well, pronunciation, that's one of the biggest challenges, but I think after the first year, then it should get easier and easier. And eventually there's just a point where you don't really need to pay attention to the pronunciation. You already kind of know it from learning for so long. For me, as long as other people understand, that's the my main goal. So I never really changed that. I never really focused on that as a problem. I just kept with it. You don't want to study too much and then burn out, because it just takes away all your motivation. I did that with Japanese in the past. I never really had that with Chinese because we would have classes every day and it would be continuous. We'd keep learning. So you need to have like a routine, it's best. If you get some kind of routine and make sure you're studying like at least a little bit every day, even if it's just 2 minutes, it's better than nothing. And if you study, say, 5 hours in one day, you might think, oh, I don't really need to study the rest of the week. And then the rest of the week, you just forget what you learn in those 5 hours. And that's a big problem with language learning, is that you need to keep repeating and reviewing what you're learning. It's all about just continuously studying, like day to day. And it takes a long time, but eventually, if you keep doing bit by bit, you get there. I think what helped me when I was in Taiwan was to do language exchange. So there's a lot of websites you can find language exchange partners on, or you could just, especially if you're at university, there's always ways you can find a language exchange partner through the university and just keep practicing speaking, because it doesn't feel like studying if you're just talking with a friend, but it is actually very helpful for practicing and for speaking abilities, to just keep talking as much as you can. 我觉得大家第一次去台湾还是中国，亚洲各国应该是会有这种的，有第一次的时候有一点难习惯，很多文化的差别还是食物。我第一次来台湾的时候，我真的不喜欢吃台湾菜，4年以后。 那台湾菜应该是其中我最喜欢的菜，然后改变很多我自己的人的想法也应该是有改变个性也改变，因为你一直在自己的国家的话，就认识的东西，认识 世界不太多，你去国外留学的时候，就想法一定会改变，然后习惯别的东西，一定会对你自己的个性有好处。应该是第1年的时候就慢慢的习惯，然后慢慢的感知别的东西。 然后还有第1年，大概先到台湾的时候，第6个月以内，大概不太会说中文。那这样子的话也不太可以习惯。但是你会中文以后就 很容易习惯那个文化，还有朋友习惯他们说的话，还是他们的个性样子。 应该是在网络可以有很多网站是介绍语言交换这样子的，然后你可以认识他们，然后见面，然后慢慢的当朋友这是应该是很好的一个办法，因为他们要学英文，你要学中文，就是对，可以帮助他们，他们也帮助你，然后有的人他们是会去比较大的城市，就可能一直跟自己国家的朋友见面，然后没有那么多的本地的朋友，这对中文的能力有点不太好，因为你每天都是说英文还是说自己的语言，但是你最好要找本地的朋友，然后可以每天聊天，每天跟他们说话，对，这最好的办法。Yeah, so obviously with Chinese compared to other languages, it takes a long time. It could be 3-5 years till you're fluent, till you can say that you're fluent in Chinese. But if you keep putting in little bits of effort, you'll eventually get there. And, you know, it's not really that much more difficult than other languages, because with other languages as well, you still need to put the same amount of effort every day and just keep at it. Chinese maybe a little longer, it might take double the amount of time, but I think the benefits of speaking Chinese fluently are even more than, say, European languages, because so few foreigners speak Chinese, and it can be it can be a great way to make friends, have something to talk about with people from those countries. And for me, it's changed my life, because I can't imagine how I'd be without having studied Chinese in Taiwan. It was a great, it changed me a lot, and I'm really glad that I can speak fluent Chinese. If you just started learning, click the link in the description and go to ChineseClass101.com. There's loads of great learning materials there where you can start your Chinese language journey. And good luck. It might take a long time, but it's definitely worth it. Thank you for watching. See you next time.